Hey, good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the French influence in Michigan. And I'm going to talk about Pontiac's uprising in the future, but I realized when I was going to start talking about it and researching, you need to get a little background information to kind of understand what led up to Pontiac's uprising. Much of the information I got came from this book here. It's a Michigan, a history guide to the Great Lakes state. It's written by Dr. Rubenstein. He taught at University of Michigan Flint. He actually grew up in Port Huron, Michigan. And it's also by Dr. Ziewacz. It's Ziewacz. He taught at Michigan State. The two of them wrote several books, did a lot of research together. I'm not sure much information other than what it says on the back about the teacher from Michigan State. Um, so, anyways, getting into the nitty gritty here, I do have a photo here that shows the different tribes that were in the Michigan area at this time in about 1760. So the French, they were the first Europeans to come into Michigan, and that was around 1620. They came by way of Newfoundland. So if any of you are familiar with Newfoundland, let me see if I can scroll. This I just thought was it was the Indian Trails. This actually looks like it's I-75 going right up. They might have followed the Indian Trails. So Newfoundland is going to be up in here. So the French came down, came through the St. Lawrence Seaway and into Michigan. So, and all through the Great Lakes. And as you can see by this map, they were all the way over and all the way down into New Orleans and everywhere. So, reasons that they came. There are about 5 reasons. One, they hoped to find gold and silver. They kept thinking, or they had heard, that they would just walk in and it was going to be laying on the ground, right in plain sight. It wasn't. They were also looking for that Northwest Passage to China. Like most people were trying to look for that Northwest Passage. It wasn't there. Again, one of the guys, Jean Nicolet, he thought he had found it when some people he met, they were by this water they called the Stinking Water. That was actually Green Bay, Wisconsin. So again, not China. Long ways from China there. The third reason, they wanted to capitalize on the fur trade. At the time, they wanted to become the fashion capital of the world, but Holland was. So most of us realize, Paris was the fashion capital, but at this time it was Holland. And people, they were really getting into this, wanting the beaver hats and coats. So beaver became a big industry of trapping. And at the result of it, beaver almost became extinct within Michigan here because of all the trapping they were doing. They became very successful trappers here in Michigan, the French did. And that's because they listened to the natives, the Native Americans here. And they learned their language. They intermarried into the tribes. They didn't just come in and think that they were horrible people or just disregard them completely. And so because of this, the natives sided with the French a lot over the British and even the Americans, the people that became the Americans. Fourth reason was they felt that the natives needed their souls healed, that they needed to be saved, and they believed they were crying out for Christianity. So the French Catholics, called Jesuits, came in. The natives called them the Black Robes. And they were able to combine the natives' beliefs with their religion. So instead of taking away the natives' beliefs and totally saying that they were wrong, they put the two together and made them blend. And they even took Bibles and translated them into the Native Americans' language so that they could read them, as opposed to making them have to learn another language. And the fifth reason that the French came was they wanted to expand their empire. As you can see, they really expanded up through Canada and all the way through. much of the United States, what we call now the United States. Because at the time, in the beginning, we had Spain who was taking over a lot. You had British taking over a lot. As you can see, the British, this would be the colonies, eventually became the colonies. We have Spain here and Spain also here taking over. So, and by about 1750, there were about 50,000 French in North America, and there were about 1.5 million British. And the British were starting to want to expand beyond the Appalachians. Remember, the Appalachians is right in this area here. They wanted to start to expand into the Kentucky region, which is in this area here. And it resulted in the 7 Years' War that was going on. It started going on here. And it was also called the French and Indian War. It started in 1756. The French were eventually pushed up and out of Michigan into Canada. I believe I have a picture here. So here is New France, here is the British, and here is after the French and Indian War, where they were pushed out. So the French territory, I only see it down here. But they were pushed up and out, and the British eventually took over into Canada. And they now had control of Michigan. So the natives, they really weren't upset about this because they were promised that things were going to remain the same, that they were still going to get the extras that they were getting from the French, all the gifts. And it didn't matter who the white man was. They just thought, okay, it'll be something good and that we'll actually prosper. So it didn't really turn out that way, as many of us know, as far as what had happened with the Indians. So the next time I will get a little bit more into building up to Pontiac, trying to attack Detroit, Fort Detroit there. So I hope everyone is well. Have a good day.